Who has a brighter future? 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan or Houston Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans? Keep in mind, the Texans have the second pick in the draft this year.
So,
brighter future.
This one's tough.
Everything Kyle Shanahan has done in the past doesn't count. I'm not trying to lead you in any direction because I don't know what I'm going to say yet.
I'm going to say, unfortunately, I like DeMeco Ryans better than I like Kyle Shanahan from a personality standpoint and as a person. But I think Kyle Shanahan is in a situation where he could be working for the 49ers for 30 freaking years. DeMeco Ryans is in Houston. I know he's got 6 years, but it's freaking Houston. It's the Texans.
It's true.
DeMeco Ryans is also defensive-minded. A lot of his success is going to be 100% dependent on who his offensive coordinator is. Is he able to find a quarterback? I'm going to say Kyle Shanahan.
It's true. I was thinking I would normally just go with the offensive coach by default, but DeMeco is the natural leader here, not Kyle.
I agree with that.
The other thing about it is, so I totally agree. He's going to end up probably bringing an offensive coordinator from the Niners staff, and it's going to be knock off Kyle, and they're going to have the same problems without the same upside. I get that. That's what the problem that happened that went on with the Jets. But we were talking about at the beginning of the show, the quarterback position. You know, it comes down to the quarterback position. It all comes down to the quarterback position. And say what you want about Kyle. Got Nick Bosa, put together a great team. A lot of stability here. Year 7, and there are still huge questions at the quarterback position. Meanwhile, DeMeco is going in there, very similar situation, right? Gets the 6-year deal. It's a number 2 pick in the draft. That's what the Niners had. Niners had number 2 pick in the draft, and they could have been like, do we take the quarterback? Kyle said, no. I don't want a quarterback. I'm not even going to pick one. I'm going to drop. I'm going to take a D lineman. And that really still haunts the 49ers.
Yeah.
DeMeco, what are you going to do? Are you going to trade down, get cute, take a D lineman? Maybe that's the right thing to do this year. Or maybe he just takes Bryce Young. And maybe Bryce Young's really good. I don't know. I mean, he seems like he's better than any other Alabama quarterback that's come out. And some of those guys have been pretty good so far. Tua's pretty good. He looks better than that.
Yeah.
Maybe he just gets the quarterback position right. And he's like Pete Carroll, where he just rides a Hall of Fame level quarterback. I'm not saying Bryce Young's that, but if he is, or Bill Belichick, who just rides a Hall of Fame level quarterback for freaking 15 years and has success. Maybe just getting the quarterback position right immediately leads to DeMeco having a brighter future. But I don't know who the right quarterback is to pick. I started watching. You got to choose between the guy from Alabama and the guy from Ohio State and the guy from Kentucky. It's tough. It does kind of feel like Mahomes, Watson, Trubisky, though. Just from like,
it's possible.
Just racially.
I mean, it's totally possible DeMeco has a great career. It's just I feel like the odds are stacked against him. What Kyle Shanahan has shown that he can be competitive year in and year out. The entire NFL looks at him like an offensive genius. So he's going to be able to get a coaching job for the rest of his life.
No doubt. And he's always going to be able to get good D coordinators to replace the last D coordinator. It's true.
Yeah.
He
So
will.
is DeMeco going to be
But
able to
if he can't get that quarterback, though, or if he can get him and he can't keep him healthy, then you know what?
He's never going to go to
It's never going to happen. Yeah.
Right? Even if he doesn't get the quarterback position right, even if Jed York fires him, he'll take a year off maybe, and he'll come back and get another job somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. That doesn't mean he'll ever win a Super Bowl.
No.
But it's true. He will always get a job until people finally decide, you know what, this guy's no C. Norv Turner, how many head coaching jobs did Norv Turner get? A bunch, right? Mm-hmm. He had Washington, and then he had the Raiders. Then he got the Chargers. And it was like everyone knew the story, the deal with Norv Turner, but he was that great of an offensive coordinator that couldn't help it but keep getting. And he did have some success. He won a lot of games with Phil Rivers, but never a championship as a head coach. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting, this whole DeMeco thing. Yeah, I wouldn't bet on DeMeco. I wouldn't bet on a defensive coach, but all he has to do is get the quarterback position right. Kyle's still searching. And I don't know. What would you do? Have you looked at these quarterbacks that closely?
I haven't even started that. I'm going to start doing that next week, but I haven't even really dug in. I don't watch college.
I like Bryce Young. I think he's good. You just wonder if he's going to be great enough to take it number 2 because he is little. And, it's hard to keep little guys healthy. CJ Stroud is bigger, but, man, and he does look like a better prospect than Justin Fields from what I've seen, but the next Ohio State quarterback who works out will be the first Ohio State quarterback that works out. And I think the problem with them is they're never in a pocket that's compressed ever. And they have just one-on-one matchups that are advantageous to them all over the field. So they don't have experience playing like quarterback. I don't know what you would call what they play at Ohio State. It's just easy. It's not their fault.
What you want is a guy like with the physical attributes of Trey Lance, with the experience of Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
On a team where
that's one thing, dude.
Where he's had to carry the team and not just be a part of a
discount experience. Experience is very important. You look at the quarterbacks who are failing. Justin Fields, 600-something throws. Zach Wilson, 800-something throws. Mac Jones, what did he have? Like 700-something throws? Yeah, Trey. I mean, this is a tough one. We're going to have to see. Trevor Lawrence had a lot of throws. So it seems like if you don't have 900 throws in college, including junior college, if you went there, man, you're working from a deficit, and you can pull it off, but it's hard. So if you have the number 1 pick in the draft, number 2, I would probably go with Bryce Young just on that alone. He just threw more passes than C.J. Stroud did.
Physical attributes, experience, and on a team that probably isn't that good, to where they're maybe the best player on their team that has to carry the team. Because, these guys at Ohio State and Alabama, sometimes it works out, but they have the best receivers, the best offensive linemen.
That's true.
They've never really had to carry.
Also, I feel like the gap between Ohio State and Big Ten is way wider than the gap between Alabama and the SEC.
Yeah.
Like Ohio State is the one team in the Big Ten with athletes. Maybe Michigan too. Yeah. Every team in the Big Ten is slow as hell.
Yes.
That's the way I look at it. I don't know. And they're very fast, and they play an up-tempo scheme, and they got all these Big Ten defenses on their heels, and you got these quarterbacks looking like it's freaking the water. They look like Hollywood movies where there's no pass rush. You know what I mean?
Work. Yeah.
Easy work. I think it's tougher in the SEC. I mean, we've seen Mac Jones have some success, Tua have some success. I think Bryce Young is better than them. I feel like he's worth it. I don't know about Stroud, although Stroud is bigger. He's bigger. He's a better athlete than Bryce Young. He might be worth it too. He might be the best. He might be the first. But what does he had? Again, we had 600-something throws from Ohio State. That scares me. In the top 5, that scares me, man. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm going to dig in deeper on those guys as the offseason progresses for sure.
Yeah.
And we approach draft day, but I haven't done much on it yet.
Because it's not just that you're not experienced enough. It's like you haven't proven it. You haven't really proven. A lot of guys could have a good season, a great season and a half. That doesn't mean that they're going to be great in the NFL or even good. Like if you've thrown 1,100, 1,200 passes and you've pretty consistent the whole way through, I think maybe it's a little easier to project what you're going to be in the NFL. Just saying. Show me how many quarterbacks in the NFL right now who are successful through like fewer than 900 throws in college. I bet there's a few. I bet there are, but I'd like to know how many.